You're still watching Prime Morning, and today is an exceptional one. We are having so much fun in the building today because actually two great people amongst us, our family members, are celebrating their birthday. I'm talking about Dua and Jennifer, and we love these two to bits. So happy birthday to them. We have Easy Grub here. You should see the food they've brought. My goodness, I've spotted burger, I've spotted a kebab, I've spotted I think the scrambled eggs, and then there's cake. My favorite is cake. When I see food, I'm those people that when we see food, we are yeah, that's me. And also we are grilling mushrooms. So mushroom kebab is here. We're eating mushroom kebab. Anyway, I need to control myself. Like, Rosalind, control yourself. Don't be like this when you see food. Like, be normal when you see food. But hey, that's what we'll be doing. And we know Mr. Drew also joined us as we party hard today. We gonna party. Now, our rice today is by Food Masters. Now, they make the best rice in town. They have the best rice, trust me. Food lovers, they have the best of rice. So if you want, to eat rice and you're thinking, okay, should I go for this type of rice? That type? No, food lovers. They have the best, like it's the masters of all rice. And one. When you're cooking jollof and you don't use the right rice, it will become too jimmy or it will become some way, half cooked, half not cooked. Now, Food Lovers is not like that. So when you go to the market, order for Food Lovers rice because they have the best of rice. It's time for us to have our big interview for today. And my guest is one man who was in the medical field. I don't know what happened. He will definitely tell us what happened. Why he decided to leave the medical field and go into politics. Now, when I posted his flyer, so many messages came in. And it's from doctors. And they're like, why will you desert us? Why go into politics? We know the medical field is one that you ought to be truthful and honest. But to go into a medical field, my goodness. And again, when he was in the medical field, he wasn't just an ordinary, doctor. He was more than that. Let me introduce my guest for you today. His name is Dr. Titus Beyuo, and he is the NDC parliamentary candidate-elect for Lambusi constituency. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. Good morning to our viewers.
Now, you have a lot of people actually wondering this, and I think that would be my first question. Why you decided to go into politics?
Well, that's an interesting one. And I think it's a question I'll never stop answering. But politics is not completely separated from our normal life. And I think that especially our parliamentary politics is supposed to be the place where we have a pure representation of our society, which means we expect to have the professionals there, like the doctors, the lawyers, the architects, and various cadre of people from the society, so that it's truly representative of what our society is. So the question I'll ask is, why not? I have served the profession, I continue to serve, and I should be quick to add, and a lot of my patients, when I won my election, will send me congratulations, and the next message is they're crying. Oh, so does that mean you're not going to be there for us? No, I'll try my best to be there as much as I would, or I can. I'll continue to practice medicine. Maybe not on the same scale as before, but I think going to politics is to serve a greater good, make maybe a much significant impact than I'm already doing.
How are you going to combine that with medicine? Politics is heavy. It needs you. If you're serving the people, a whole member of parliament, well, you are serving so many people from your constituency. Now, you say you'll be there for your, patients as well.
Yeah.
Obstetrician, gynecologist.
Yes.
How can you do all of that?
Okay, so you see, one of my motivations for going into politics really is service. And I see it as a call.
It's not the money?
No, far from it. I think if it is the money, I'll probably not go there at all. The two professions or career paths, which is medicine and politics, to the best of my knowledge, are not where to make money. If you want to make money, you should go into business. That's where you really can make money, work with the figures and make money. But medicine is about service to humanity. Politics, to my understanding, is also service to humanity. And I say one of my motivations of veering into main politics is I come from a very rural community. My constituency is very deprived, and I offer free medical services to the place. And I realized that what I was doing, though helpful, is not sustainable. There's a particular incident I'll never forget in one of our communities called Samoa. I went to this community just on a normal visit to people, and then I passed through the health center to say hello to the staff there. And there was a woman in labor with a complication that there was no way she was going to be able to deliver without assistance. And the entire district at the time, no surgery can be performed for a pregnant woman. So it meant that she needed to go from that district to another district. And that facility itself did not even have doctors. The highest they had were midwives. And this woman needed some intervention that it would take not just a doctor, but a specialist, an obstetrician for that matter, to do it. And I had to use the glove that was not appropriate. I had to add a polythene bag to it and put my hand into her womb to try and get the baby out, to do a maneuver and get the baby out. But I only realized recently that they had named the baby after me.
Oh, wow.
Yes, but this baby automatically was going to die if that intervention was not there. And then I asked myself, how many more women are going through this? And how many more of my kind will be there to save their situation? So you realize that at some point, you need interventions on a larger scale that can reach out to many more people.
So if you should become the member of parliament to represent that constituency one day, let's say 2024, and your political party doesn't win power, obviously you're speaking on behalf of the people is not going to be as effective as you are in power. So then what will you do to support the people?
Okay, so I would first appeal to all Ghanaians to make sure that come 2024, we all vote for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC to come to power. That empowers us to do more. But in the unlikely event that that doesn't happen, and I'm very confident and optimistic that that will happen.
Okay.
But in the unlikely event that that doesn't happen, and I am elected as a representative of the people, advocacy is still there, and it's one of our strongest tools. I had to veer from my core practice into public health to study epidemiology because I was looking at how to make a larger impact. And so that advocacy bit for people to know the plight of my people, what people are going through there, is still a very strong and effective tool that can be used. Not all problems will be solved by government. Private individuals have to come in. Civil society groups have to come in, and then other benevolent groups have to come in to help improve. And that can only be done if the problem is sold out for people to know what we are going through. Yeah, that is the reason why I think that going in this direction, maybe I'll be able to impact more lives positively than I would do ordinarily in my consulting room.
Ghana Medical Association, some of them are not too happy with you. You know that, right? They feel the old men are retiring. They need people like you to be on board to fight for them. You've been speaking on their behalf. You were part of the executives. And all of a sudden, they feel neglected. They feel you turned your back at them.
Oh, definitely not. I am still a very active member of the association. Yes, I was the general secretary. I spoke a lot for the association, and then
against the politicians, and now you're a politician.
Yes, you see, when there is a saying that when you can't fight them, join them. So we've been fighting, trying to make certain changes. But in policy, when you are not at the decision table, your noise can only go as far as the policymakers want it to go. So I think doctors who really appreciate the concepts of decision-making in this country are grateful for my move and not feeling sad about it, because if I am successful, then they now know that they have somebody who's gone through their ranks, who's worked through like them, who is being in the consulting room. I've been almost every kind of a doctor before. I've been a general duty doctor. I've become a specialist. I teach in the medical school, so my colleague teachers can relate. I teach postgraduate doctors, those who are specializing.
They are all not happy.
No, a lot of them are happy. A lot of them are happy.
They wish you'd be teaching them.
No, I would continue to offer some form of services, but a lot of our challenges stops with the policymakers. And we go and make a lot of advocacy, and sometimes it looks like they don't appear to understand us. And so if you have someone who's gone through the ranks with you, my appreciation of things may be slightly different, and I may be able to convey our concerns to people in authority to understand it a bit more. So I think most doctors are actually hopeful that I will succeed and continue to be an advocate for them in the political space. So
let's see what the future holds. But then let's talk about, your upbringing, of course, your dreams, your aspirations. Did you ever know that you're going to politics?
In my early stages in life, no. In fact, when I was growing up, it was mainly two professions on my mind. I wanted to be a Catholic priest, and then, yes, and then at some point I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
So I actually went to the seminary. When I went to secondary school, I had the option of being in the regular secondary school, that's Pope John, or the minor seminary. And I went to the minor seminary first.
Why did you want to be a Catholic priest?
I felt it's a way to serve my people, to serve God, and to be there for the people.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in the north?
Briefly, yes.
Briefly.
Yeah.
Most people feel, and it's a perception, it doesn't mean that it's true, that more people go into the priesthood, the Catholic priesthood, because of poverty, because they want to have security. Was that part of your reasons?
No. I don't fully subscribe to that view. Your world view influences your decision making. And when you live in the society that I grew up in, the immediate professions you will see will be the teachers, will be the catechists, will be the priests. So it's likely that you would aspire to be one of these people. Okay. Every Sunday we go in and the priests are there to preach for us, dress piously, and we all admire them and we want to be like them. So it's expected that a lot more people will want to be priests. And then teachers, of course, will a lot of influence in such societies. And where I grew up, you hardly will see a doctor. You hardly will see a lawyer. So those professions won't come immediately to you. You wouldn't even know that some of them exist.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in a village called Kucha.
Okay.
And then spent part of my growing up in Pong Tamale. There I started to see a few more other professions. But growing up in Kucha up to primary 2, primary 5, all I knew were priests, teachers, catechists. These are the people that you would encounter. And I wanted to be a priest there.
Did you know they were not married?
Yes.
And you were willing to do that?
Of course. But and it just didn't stop there. It continued even when I came down to Accra through my basic school at Martyrs of Uganda. I was a mass server. I was still very eager to be a priest. When I went to secondary school, I was still eager to be a priest. I was fully aware of what it takes. But at some point, I had a discussion with a senior priest that I want to be a doctor and I want to be a priest. What do I do? And he said, yeah, it's possible to combine the two, but he would advise me to go to medical school first. And then it gives me more time to assess and see if the call is true and I want to respond to that call. And then when I went to medical school, well...
You met a woman?
No.
You met Eve?
Oh, no. Well, someone said the call became a missed call. I'm not sure if it became a missed call, but then I just realized that I could make the same impact in a different way. Yeah.
So your parents knew you wanted to be a priest. Were they disappointed when you told them that you had changed your mind?
Oh, well, at the time of changing my mind, my parents were all late. Oh. So I lost my mom very early. I lost my dad when I was in secondary school. He was very encouraging of me to become a priest. And I'm sure if we were alive, I'm not sure if he'll be disappointed, but I think it's every Catholic family's dream and aspiration to have one of their kids maybe become a priest. So they would have loved that. But I'm also the only person becoming a doctor from the family. So I'm sure, nice. That would compensate.
Would you allow any of your children become a Catholic priest?
Yeah, if they so desire.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it should be the person's wish. And they should know the full consequence of it because it's a call for true service. And I think they should mature and make that decision. When you are young, it's very easy to make the decision. But as you grow, you have to deal with your emotions. You have to deal with your other conflicting interests. And then you make a decision. And if you make it at that point, I think it's better.
So do you regret not being a Catholic priest, or you think the path you've taken is the best?
No, I have no regrets at all. I don't regret not being one. I think that the path I've taken is living up to what I thought it would be, and maybe even more. And I'm enjoying every bit of it, so I don't regret.
Is this your wife?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Where did you get this from? Yes, that's Dr. Beyuo.
Okay, you met her in school?
Yes, she's a pediatric ophthalmologist, an eye specialist who works or operates on children's eyes. Yes, I met her in the university. Through a very funny way.
Tell us about it.
Oh, so, I've been a politician, a student politician all my life. Growing up, I've been in student leadership everywhere. And I met her when I was trying to campaign to become what will be the SRC president of the medical school. So we call them the Medical Student Association president. And surprisingly, she was on the other side. She was campaigning for my opponent. And then someone told me if I managed to get her to my end, I could win most of the ladies in her class.
Right.
So, but I struggled to meet her. Anytime I went to the class, they all shouted the slogans of my opponent, and I felt very depressed. So I decided to go door to door doing campaigning, and then I knocked on one door, and there she was. So, well, I forgot that I was there to campaign.
Okay, so this is when your mind changed from being a priest.
No. That change had taken place much earlier.
Okay.
Yes, but then we had a very lengthy chat. Then I realized that we have so much in common. Her mom appeared to, the first thing that surprised me was that she spoke my language, and I didn't expect that. When you hear her name, you wouldn't think that she can speak my language. So we started talking, and then, one thing led to another. And eventually, I got a double win. I won over her heart, and then I won the elections as well.
Okay.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yes.
And so how many children do you have?
4.
You ain't sleeping. You work hard.
I'm practicing my obstetrics. I'm practicing my obstetrics.
Now let's see this one as well. Beautiful picture.
Yes.
A doctor, and who is the man by you?
This is a mentor of mine. I'm surprised where you're getting these from. That is Professor Tim Johnson.
Okay.
I was a visiting scholar at the University of Michigan in the US, and he was my mentor when I went there, and we've been friends till now. He is one of the pioneers in training, postgraduate training of obstetrics in Ghana. They helped us to set up a national postgraduate training service in Ghana, that we can train specialists in Ghana. Before them, it was difficult, but he played a very significant role.
Let me read some messages, and then I have some big questions for you. Okay. Watching live from Lambusi with Dr. Beyuo. Lambusi will find his rightful place in the country. All hail Doctor from Isabel. Okay. This one says, okay, happy birthday, Siedua. May God bless you and increase your age, and may your generation continue forever. Amen. May God give you the strength and wisdom to continue whatever you are doing on Joy Pride. Amen and amen. I'm receiving it on behalf of Siedua. You can also send in your messages to us. Our guest for today's big interview is Dr. Titus Beyuo. Now, Doc, I'll ask you this before I go into politics. Why gynecologist?
Well, so gynecology means so much more, but when we mention it, people think about it in different ways. So my personal motivation for going to gynecology was that I didn't want any woman to die and leave behind their children.
Okay.
And
it's not what people say?
No.
Okay.
The cause is broader than that. Okay. But, and why that? Because as I mentioned to you earlier, I lost my mom when I was very young. And I went through a lot of struggles because of that. So growing up, it was my dream and my desire that every woman should be there to take care of their kids till they are grown. And so when I hear women dying in the course of childbirth, it was very hurtful. And so I decided to go into that area to help women to have children and live and take care of their children so no one dies in childbirth.
Okay.
And it's the reason why when I have a district of 50,000 people that cannot have access to justice zero insertion, your own interventions are not enough. You need bigger intervention. And it's the same force that is still driving me. But surprisingly, people think gynecology is all sorts of things.
Yeah,
but we take care of all women's problems, their health problems. The obstetrics part of it is taking care of pregnancy and its related.
But they say you look at other things. Is it true?
Oh, it's part of the job.
So you see them?
Oh, why not?
You look?
We have to examine.
Okay.
We have to examine.
Okay.
And the examination, inspection, which is looking, is part of the examination. And then you actually touch. And then you may use instruments.
You touch?
Yes. You may use instruments to assess.
Okay, so what, do you always use instruments or sometimes you use your hands?
No, if you have to use your hands, you have to use gloved hands.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you control your feelings?
Oh, no.
It doesn't come like that?
Never. No, I don't think any gynecologist has that challenge at all. I mean, by the time you are done through our training, when you see people in particular conditions, you are seeing diseases. And you are not seeing them as people that you want to establish any romantic relationship with. No. Your focus is on the person's suffering, pain, or whatever the situation might be. Yes, but no. Not at all.
Not at all.
No.
Now, there are two main political parties in Ghana here, NPP, NDC. Why did you decide to go for the NDC?
And I'll ask why not. I think I made it clear that, in my personal belief, the type of governance, the principle, ideology of the NDC is what suits me and it's what my community can relate to. The NDC practices social democratic governance. They believe in equity, they believe in social justice, they believe in sharing the national cake equitably. And I think it is what I can relate to. I cannot subscribe to the property-owning democracy that the NPP practices, where few people are rich and the gap between the poor and the rich continues to widen. And if you go into my community, you would not ask that question, because if you look at health interventions in my district, the NPP can never compare with the NDC. If you look at, of all the chief centers dotted around to make sure that people have access to health, it was from the NDC. What
can the NDC do to come back to power in 2024? My final question to you.
I think the NDC is doing everything right now. What we need is for Ghanaians to buy into the vision of the NDC and understand that we are in a terrible predicament, that we only need the NDC with the leadership of John Dramani Mahama to take us from it. Look at our economic situation. Look at the healthcare. Look at what is happening to our health insurance. Look at what is happening to pensioners. And look at what is happening to uncompleted projects. For the first time, we have had a presidential candidate commit that when he comes, he's going to complete ongoing projects. He's not going to abandon them. I think that should be enough call for Ghanaians to throw their support behind. He's committed to the banks that were, their licenses were revoked unjustly. He's going to review them and make sure that those that are supposed to have it will have it. If you go to my district, we have only two banks, a rural bank and Indum's Bank. Now, Indum's Bank is no longer available.
The CBG? CBG took over?
But it's not in my village.
It's not there?
No, it's not in my entire district. So we just have only one rural bank service. So we make some of these decisions at the national level, but we don't think about its repercussions down there. And there's a statement Mahama made, said that, look, all the banks do not play at the same level. The banking services the farmer needs in my village just to get 2 fertilizer bags to do his farm, it's not the same as what somebody needs in Accra to import a container full of equipment or something from the US. So let's let all players be in there. I mean, of course, people who are perpetuating criminality should be punished. We are not endorsing that. But we should not do a wholesale closure of banks like what has happened.
Right.
So I would ask that Ghanaians should look at what the NDC is offering and give the NDC the opportunity to bring this country back online.
Dr. Beyuo, thank you so much for being our guest for the big interview today. We are super, super grateful. Of course, before you go, you have to give your final words to the people out there of Lambisi who have given you the mandate to represent the NDC during 2024 elections.
All right. So let me not lose sight of what is happening in studio. Let me say a happy birthday to the
Esiedua and Jennifer.
Yeah, the two beautiful celebrants. I'm tempted to stay behind after my interview. Unfortunately, I have medical students waiting. I need to go and teach. So please let me take what I can take along. But to my constituents, to the members of the great NDC party in the Lambuse constituency, I would say that our journey has just begun. I'm grateful for giving me the opportunity to represent the party, but we need to complete it by making sure that we win the election convincingly in December next year, both parliamentary and presidential. And I would urge that let's all put all hands on deck and push hard to bring the change that Ghanaians need to save this country. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm really grateful, especially to the youth, the chiefs, and all our party leadership in Lambuse. All
right. Thank you so much, Titus. Now, before you go, Esiedua, can you join me, please? Okay, so before Titus leaves this place, we have this beautiful presentation for him.
Oh, really?
So, a birthday girl. My birthday girl's looking so fabulous this morning, isn't she? She's looking fabulous.
Oh,
now,
wow.
Titus, this is from us at Joy Prime to you. We are celebrating you today.
You want to
yes.
open it up yourself?
Yes,
Yeah.
let him open it. Okay, so Titus, we want you to open it up. Now, okay, so we open it. Yes, and this is from Joy Prime to you. We celebrate you on the big interview today. Now, this lovely frame is by Multi-Photo Frames. So if you want to get your frames, please go to Multi. Let me stand so that I don't, proportion is not. So Multi-Photo Frames gave us this frame. If you want to contact them, it's 024-049-2123. 024-049-2123. Please call them. They are located at the NPP office junction, Fanofa Road, Kokomlemle, right opposite the Keda Health Center. So you can call them. It's easy. Now we know that if you say you're going, you say, oh guys, difficult, don't worry. Call them 024-049-2123. And this is a beautiful picture of Dr. Titus Beyuo. He is actually representing the NDC during the 2024 elections at Lambisi. We wish you all the best.
Thank you. And thank you to those who sponsored this for us.
I hope you love it.
I love it. This will be in my constituency office by next week.
Great.
So
please, when you put it there, take a picture with this and let's have it.
I would. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
I'm grateful.
for being here.
And thanks for having me. And happy birthday.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.